Hey, I'm McGhee with YATicket.com. I'm here with MovieNight.net, Steven Lebowitz. How you doing, Steven?
Oh, good today, Al. How are you?
Good, man. Well, let's talk about this new movie, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Man, I was glad to see this film, and we saw it in IMAX. And one thing I like about this film, man, it was really spectacular in the visual. It really was. But this is an entirely different story. This is a story I did not see coming with this film, and also the spectacular apes in this, the way they shot it, and things like that. It, I thought it was 3D. And I thought it was really real. What do you think about this film?
Well, it is like part of the new franchise. That came. It started with like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War of the Planet of the Apes, and that was about the main character Caesar, played by Andy Serkis. And yes, and actually the movie does end. Movie start in the War of the Planet of the Apes came out in 2017. So if you haven't seen it yet, here's a spoiler: Caesar does die, and the movie starts with like his funeral. But then it says, this is like many generations later. So basically, apes, and we get a little title card saying, apes pretty much ruling the world now. Humans, because of the virus, are now sort of like, have like no intelligence at all. And this is like a brand new. Let this franchise tell a new story now that the original trilogy is done. So now they can just start do whole new stories, and that's what we get here.
Yeah, we get that here in this new film, but like you said, start off with the death of Caesar, and many generations later. Now I don't know what many generations they said it was. Was it
They, they,
50
they,
years later?
many
100 years
generations to
later?
me, I see one many generations at least 100, because basically a few generations later it's like father, grandfather, so on, like a grandparent. So it's as many generations later. I'm thinking, okay, it's like your grandfather's grandfather's grandfather, so it's got to be at least 100, 150 years later. By my interpretation of many generations later
Yeah,
means that.
right, exactly. And especially when you saw the environment where they're at the growth of the plants over the buildings and how everything has deteriorated that was made by man.
Yeah, I mean, you
And
see cities
also,
deteriorating and all covered in moss yet, so
right,
it's a long time.
but it also shows that the apes did not grow as far as developing any type of technology, didn't know what technology was, didn't know what books were, at least with this group of apes, didn't know what books were, and really did not know a lot about humans because they really did not encounter any humans until later in the film.
Yes, and it's interesting because the movie contradicts itself, because there's in the end of the third movie we see how humans are starting to, like, lose their intelligence, but now we find out there are some humans that are normal like us, that apparently virus did not affect. So it's weird how there's humans that are like, have no intelligence and basically like ape like themselves, and then you have humans that are just like, hey man, what's going on, Charlie? Not much, Bob, how are you? So there's humans like that out there too with these apes.
Yeah, exactly. And this is another thing, though, that surprised me, though, is this: the human that they encounter, and her name is May, played by Frida Allen. I did not understand her relationship with them and for them, and how she was maybe observing them. I didn't understand that part of her.
There, there,
How
there
did she,
there's
you
holes in
know?
this movie. There's a few things. It's like it's almost 2.5 hours. I think it's like 2 hours, 22 hours, 25 minutes with credits. Um, it should have been a solid 2 hours. The director of this film, Wes Bell, who did all those Maze Runner movies, which were,
Yeah, he did all four of them or three
yeah,
of them.
I wasn't a great fan of those movies, but he did
Neither
that
was I.
trilogy.
I didn't like them at all.
Yeah, but he did this one, and sometimes directors like to just overindulge themselves. I want everything in my movie right away, and I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose that, and you know what? You should have lost it, because if this was a 2 hour movie, just nice and trimmed down, let the story flow through, I think it would have been a much solider story. And even though they, and like you said, we didn't really know all her motivations, what she was doing there. But we found out later, but still, it's just a lot of things just were left, kind of us like, it could have been a tighter story for me. Visually,
I agree
awesome.
with you on that because, first of all, how did she know she was going to accomplish her goal? I don't want to give that away in our review. And how did she know that they was going to help her? And how did she know that she can accomplish that goal completely with them?
It made no sense of the main character. Now that Caesar's gone, we have a new character, like a main ape. His name is Noah, and he's like in this ape village. I said that doesn't really encounter humans at all. They raise eagles, which is kind of cool, and and the fact that she's like but to like sort of infiltrating that or following that ape to get to her goal of where this other apes are. The apes may be ruling the world now, but they're still at war with each other just like humans. So they didn't really learn much from us.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah, so things this sort of plot. Now, and I don't want to give a spoiler out, but I gotta say this bugged the hell out of me, Al. I mean, this really like almost like pissed me off. I'm not gonna get specifically of what happens at the end, but the ending of this movie is almost exactly like the ending of the second movie, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It almost has the exact same ending. And I'm like, what's going on here? How can you end it like this? That's what happened in the second movie.
exactly.
And maybe you think, what is the next movie be called War of the Planet of the Apes Part Two? Because that's what they sort of hint at. And I was just like, oh, this is. I
Yeah,
think
I
it can
know.
be watched,
They
but
whoever wrote this, the writers who wrote this, uh, I they did not use a whole lot of imagination with this
no, they
film.
didn't.
The writers
They
were
really could have.
Josh Freeman and
They
Rick
had a
Jelfs.
great, and they really could have gone back to the original Planet of the Apes because remember in the very very first movie there was like a little like a space shuttle being lost in space. So basically they could have had this people who's on that shuttle come back to Earth and find it, with the apes ruling the world, and that could have been a really interesting movie to sort of remake the original. But I don't know. Yeah, I think a great opportunity was wasted. It's not an
Yeah,
awful movie. It's entertaining in still
it's
certain ways.
entertaining, and you will watch it. And I like the dynamics of this film. Well, also the structure of it, especially with their society. Uh, when you meet the apes, well, it was okay, but some of the things that they were doing, I didn't understand it. And like I said, I don't want to give a lot away, but the thing with the eagles, I didn't understand that part, and why those animals. And now you see apes controlling an animal, and also the power structure of the apes. For example, when we run into the orangutan, now he seems to know a lot, but he was alone, or his section of the
Well, see,
apes
the way
were
it seemed
gone.
like it was like maybe him and one other guy who's no longer around. So there only seemed to be like two of them. So yeah, he's like, and he sort of knows the teachings of Caesar, the original guy. So he's like
Yeah.
almost like a religion sort of speed. But I guess his part of the world is really kind of dead. So I mean, apparently, there's like sections of apes all over the country. Apparently, I don't know. It's
Maybe, but how did they communicate? How did they get in touch with each other?
well, they
Things
don't.
like that.
That's a part of the thing. But
And and then the weather, yeah, they had storms and rain, but I don't know if they were in the north with winter, and it was a little bit confusing with that. And again, it was confusing when the humans came in, and the
I said,
ending was confusing.
I don't think, like I said, I don't think the director really knew how to put together a good story. I mean, obviously he's an accomplished director. I guess to raise money, they made three movies and it must have made money because one made if the first one bombed in the box office, they wouldn't make another one.
Well, yeah,
So
and I think this is going to be a
but remember,
trilogy also.
I mean, yes, I mean, Remember those Divergent movies? They were going to do like the last book in the two parts, but the first part did so bad they never completed that
Yeah, they
series.
never, they
So that's the
never
thing.
did.
So so if you do, yeah. So
Well,
Divergent.
I think this movie's going to make money though,
It
because
will. Yeah, it's a franchise. It's popular. Um, we're the second week of the summer movie season, so yeah, it'll do business. And
yeah, it's
people,
going to do some
I don't
very
think
good
people are gonna
business.
walk out unhappy with it, but they're gonna be like, yeah, it's one of those, yeah, it's okay. You
Yeah,
know.
exactly, exactly. But I thought the voice characterizations or the voice actors, they did a very good job with that.
Well, I think it's not really voice acting. I mean, these people like are. I will say I want to get the DVD when it comes out because barely what they're gonna do is there's gonna be a version of the movie where you because all the actors are just are like are there on set. It's where like all these like dots on the face and so
Yeah,
on.
the computer gear.
So you're gonna see them just with their computer gear on, playing out in all the scenes. That should be interesting to watch.
Yeah, that should be interesting to watch, and they should tell the tale. Now, how you gonna rate this film?
I'm Al for this time. I'm only giving it 2 swords out of 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going. Well, again, I like the way they generated because you really felt that they were real. I like the way they did all of that, but it's just the storyline for me was not that spectacular. And also, there was a lot of talking in this film among the apes and themselves, and again, nothing about the humans, that was going on that they gave us any other information about them. And I'm going to, because I had fun watching it, I'm going to do a little bit better than you. I'm going to do 3 palm trees because it was
Oh,
entertaining. It was
yeah, okay,
entertaining. That's
okay.
why.
Well,
Again, and that's what
okay,
I
I'm taking.
want.
You know, I'm taking
I
one of my
want
palm tree, one of
entertainment.
my swords. I'll take one of my swords
Yeah.
and cut down that third palm tree.
Well, almost,
That's
but it
okay,
was
man.
entertaining. And I just loved the way it looked real. That's the thing
Okay,
about it. But it wasn't the plot. So I'm giving it 3 palm trees.
all right.
And yeah. For
TheMovieNight.net. That's the site. Yeah, thanks, Al.
themovienight.net. Thank you. So thank you for coming here at
Always fun.
yeticket.com and sharing your review with me, Al McGhee, here at yeticket.com. And when you watch this, please subscribe. I'll see you at another movie soon.
You got it.
All right, take care. Have a good day.
This is your entertainment ticket. Latest and greatest.